No, I don't know what
No, I
it
mean,
is.
for next time.
Next time. I don't know how I'm gonna find out. I'll get that jackhammer down there and figure it out.
Maybe you can
How
drill
big
a
is that
course.
floor?
How big's the floor?
This is a good thick 4 inches, I'm sure of that.
4 inches?
4 inches.
Okay.
46.
Make a mental note of that for next year.
But it makes a hell of a lot of difference who puts the concrete in,
Well-
what kind of concrete you got.
Yeah, there's no cracks in it.
Most concrete does crack, you have to pour a too big slab. It expands and cracks.
So there's that, hopefully next time we get the grant for that.
Next year, takes a whole year to do it again, and
Is it like in January?
January is when it starts again. But I do want to start working on it though, and get rid of some of the records down there, because I want to get rid of those big cabinets, because they just are just drawing the mold and stuff into those books and stuff. So I want to get rid of those. So then maybe next year we can get the shelving through the grant.
Next up is the highway department roof update. I met with Ron and Dean, was it Monday?
Yeah,
Last week?
it was.
And we got up on the roof. And there's some problems up there. And it was, for one, the metal's cut back too far, so it's hitting the edge before the eave straw and then coming up and over and soaking up in the insulation. There's a lot of extra screw holes. I had a big handful of screws. I still have them at home on my counter, and it's been a few months. So. And then Councilman Kiefer, Code Enforcement Officer John Leonard, and Andy Butler and Ron met that Thursday, and they discussed it further with Andy.
Did Andy get up on the roof?
Not to my knowledge, he hasn't been up there. Unless, the roof was done before I started, so I can't say he didn't get on the roof before
Yeah, I'm not
January
sure he
1st.
did or not.
He's not been on the roof since I've been.
But the roof was done mid-October, and it, the weather was bad right after that.
Yeah, so I just don't know if he's been on it or not.
He wanted to kind of slide other pieces in to extend it, and it needs to be redone.
The whole roof, or
At least big sections of it, or the whole roof.
is the holes in the roof, is that just where somebody didn't go back through and put the screws in?
No, it's where they missed the purlins. So they put screws in, and then they caulked around them. So we need to continue.
Get onto that, get it done while the weather's good.
Right.
Rather than wait till the winter and then we have to do it and the weather's bad.
Can they salvage it by sliding a 4-foot piece under to the next purlin and extending
You
it
still
above?
have a lot of holes on the other side.
Oh. I don't know if they could patch those somehow,
But then we also have the insulation problem,
Right.
where it's not sealed up good, and there was no vapor barrier put in. So it almost needs to be yanked off, a real vapor barrier put in with the roof and the insulation.
Just those steel buildings are tough to insulate with no
Yeah, the purlins
bottom
are-
cord.
So did Andy Butler agree to do that then, or?
Andy agreed to do the fix. So
His way.
We need to meet again with Andy and say, hey, what do you guys think about it?
Well, if we got holes in a brand new roof that are leaking,
And it wasn't Andy that did it himself or his guys, he subcontracted it out. I think that's where the problem is.
He's got to sue the subcontractor. You hope the subcontractor's got 5 cents if we have to go after him.
We did not pay Andy for the entire roof yet. We paid him, the quote was for $24,750, we did pay him $20, so we owe him $4,750.
Certainly won't get paid till the roof is fixed.
Oh, no, but out moving forward. We want it fixed right. We did talk about doing spray foam to fix the insulation problem and the moisture problem, which that would work, but after getting up on the roof, it's not worth putting spray foam up there, because there's some problems.
You're still gonna leak.
What about this, you know, this is gonna cost more money, strip it, period, right down to the rafters and start over. Is the fiberglass insulation up there?
Yes.
Well, it's full of water, man.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's shot.
It won't dry out by itself, not very easy.
So if Andy Butler refuses to fix it the right way, is the town considering going after the subcontractor, or they haven't talked about it yet?
We need to discuss it. Councilman Kiefer was gonna do some more research, and we can revisit it in the next month. And we'll try to meet again with Andy and, express.
Andy would be the main person responsible, because he hired his son, so it's still his job.
He's down here with the sub.
So, yeah, he's,
Yep.
yeah, and to deal with him.
Yeah, he can deal with the sub.
Right, not ours.
That's what it amounts to.
And that's the nice thing of why I trusted Andy, because he has pride in his work, and, I didn't think this would ever come up.
It didn't seem like he wanted to, was willing to, right? Because he talked a little bit, he was talking.
Problem is, it's gonna come down to new material, because new money, so he's not gonna wanna buy new metal. Or the labor.
Gonna have to buy new metal, or it don't come down far enough, and it isn't long enough to
Right.
reach that gutter. If it don't get to that gutter, then somebody's gonna put something on there that does reach that
Yeah.
gutter, one way or another.
And if it's full of screw holes, they're
Yeah.
permanent.
Yeah.
You put caulk in there all you want, but the caulk's gonna
Yeah.
dry up and
Well,
dry
it's
up.
so
and
many
About
years.
It's gonna leak.
No, that ain't gonna work.
I mean, one or two is one thing.
Right. Apparently the subcontractors didn't own a chalk line.
I heard that a lot last week.
Well, the town probably should be taking pictures of everything, just to cover themselves in case that you do take legal action.
I think Ron has a whole.
I have pictures, but if it goes that far, we could take more.
So there's that. Next up, we have the Barren Winds update. Myself, Councilman Smith, Town Clerk, Attorney Poulin, we met with Chip and Justin and their lawyers, and we went through the HCA road use agreement last week. We're just waiting for that to come back to us. I thought we had a pretty productive meeting.
Yeah, so it was sent to Seth, the last 2 days or so.
Okay.
So just to make sure that everything we agreed on
Is it-
makes it into the document, yeah,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe. And then, we were talking about using the Steuben County road use agreement as kind of a baseline. So they're working back and forth with them, because they have better engineers to look at stuff. Do you know what that time frame will be?
So we met with them today to, talk about, the road testing, pre-construction, and also mention the road use agreement, so, and explain the rationale, what we discussed. So we've got a red line, we just need to go through it again,
Okay.
and then we'll get it to them. They eagerly await it.
Sounds good. So just keep us informed.
Sure.
And June 19th, is this gonna be in the basement or up here?
In the basement.
You sure you don't have it? The Steuben IDA is going to have a public hearing for the pilot agreement. It's June 19th, 2 p.m. and at 6 p.m. down in the basement. And then there's also a public comment period on the Barren Winds recommended decision from the judges. It's due by June 25th, 2019. Isn't the public comments due sooner than that? So that's all on the website.
Is the town attorney gonna be addressing a lot of the issues?
He's gonna go through the original issues and then address, things that were diverted from with the recommended decision. Then we have Jones Road, the ditch repair. I think we talked about it last year. A resident on Jones Road was worried about the ditch being extremely deep. So he wanted to see if we could kind of fill it in. Jeff contacted Soil and Water, and they will supply us with the stones, tanks of seed fertilizer, 180 tons of rock riprap. And as long as we supply the equipment and do the work, that will be our 25%. So it'll be pretty much, all of that stuff will be free. So I have that cost estimate, if you want to look at that.
So we don't have to haul the rock with that, do we?
They'll bring the rock.
They bring the rock. We basically supply the excavator and the manpower to put it in the ditch.
So that's a
Pretty good deal, a lot of
On
rock.
top, yeah. It's just soil and water, so
Yeah.
they're good to work with.
So if you wanna do a motion on that, just so we have that on books.
Make a motion that we, look at Steuben County soil and oil and, fix the Jones Road ditch repair.
Roll call?
Whitman,
Aye.
Phelps,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Murray.
Aye.
4 ayes, 0 nays, abstained.
Next up is the drug and alcohol testing agreement with Steuben County for 6/1/2019 to 5/31/2024. So it's a 5-year agreement that basically, it takes care of our random drug testing and any kind of accident testing for the town highway guys.
We pay a fee
No fee. Well, we do pay a fee when they test.
when they test,
Yeah.
but it's whatever.
It's an annual fee for the service, is $50 per CDL holder. Each new enrollee will carry an $85 fee as they are entered into the program for their pre-employment drug test. Alcohol testing registered by agent when required on a non-random test circumstance will be charged $30 a test. If the agent is available to dispatch for off hours or post-accident drug and alcohol testing, it will be billed at the same per test rates with the additional hourly rate of $70. Delays for a shy bladder are charged $10 for each 15-minute increment. Sorry, I had to. So it's pretty standard cost. It's a shared service with the county.
Right. So I make a motion, we do, we make the agreement for the drug and alcohol testing.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Whitman,
Aye.
Phelps,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Murray.
Aye.
4 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstained.
And then we just need to approve the payment of bills for abstract 6.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment of bills on abstract 6.
I'll second that, right, the amount.
It is $46,266.74.
I second it.
Roll call?
Murray,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Phelps,
Aye.
Whitman.
Aye.
4 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstained.
And at this time, we'll open up for public comment.
I had a couple of things. I had one for Ron. I had a complaint from town resident Donna Sue Owen on Hungry Hollow. It's the 3rd or 4th place on the left. Whenever it was ditched, it looks like they dug it deeper and the pipe's up higher, and you can't tell, but it's starting to wash out the edge of the road there. So I told her that I would bring it up at the meeting and mention it.
This is on Hungry Hollow?
Yeah.
Okay, she hasn't contacted me, so.
Well, she talked to me. I mean, I bring it up at the meetings. It carries a little more weight as compared to calling somebody. And,
Okay,
you
what was
know.
her name?
Donna Sue Olin.
Okay, I think I know where you're on the left-hand side?
Yeah, 3rd or 4th place.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, we're actually gonna be up there doing oil and
yeah,
stones.
right down at the bottom of the driveway, it's washed out about 6 inches on the edge of the road, so I don't know who's, if that's coming down her driveway or it's coming up over on the other side, it's hard to tell, so.
Okay, okay, we'll be up there, so
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
I had one other question. There's a rumor going around that the town might be getting a fine from the DEC for a moat up on Canfield Road. Any news or information on that?
Ron, do you want?
There is, I've talked to the DEC, we're gonna have a meeting within the next week when Mr. Mosco's back
Mhm.
from a
Okay.
trip.
Okay,
As far as I know, there's no fine or nothing been mentioned. It was brought up that maybe there should have been a permit, but they're looking in to see if it was you talking the wetlands?
yeah, it's wetlands, I think, on both
The
sides.
the DEC and supposedly Soil and Water, from what Mr. Mosco's told me, is checking into the situation.
Okay,
And we're having a meeting. He said, I think he'd be back the 13th, so it'll be after the 13th. And that's the only news I've got on it. Was
Okay.
just one conversation with the DEC, and Mr. Mosco stopped and talked to me.
Do you wanna update the board, kinda what happened?
Up there by, it's on Canfield, just before Pat Mosco's place, there's it's like a horseshoe. I don't know if it's a wetland or not yet, it hasn't been decided yet. We actually went up, we lowered a crossover pipe to help our ditch and the shoulders of the road and stuff, and I don't know who lowered the pipe, I'm not putting no blame out there, but somebody drained the wetland or the water,
mhm.
and that's when the DEC was contacted.
Did our pipe lower the wa, was that our pipe that was lowered, that drained it?
No, there's a dike there, somebody broke the dike, drained the wetland through the dike, had nothing to do with the pipe. We let no water out of that watershed.
Years ago.
What's
That was
that?
a pond years ago.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna come back saying it's a wetland or not. Like I said, the DEC said they were looking into it, and we're having a meeting roughly in a week.
That pond was created in 1953 with a soil and water project. It's man-made,
Yeah.
so to unman-make it, I don't see the problem, but apparently people who hunt up there, who shouldn't be hunting up there, called the DEC and got them involved. So,
Well, what about the wildlife that are in there,
the snapping turtle,
in the,
That whole flat, the whole pond
muskrats?
used to be
Or-
all swamp. That was completely swamped, all grass, tall
Well,
swamp
some of them
grass.
probably lived in there.
And, yeah,
Doesn't live in
stuff
there
lived
now.
there. I can remember hunting up there and hunting pheasants up there many years ago.
Mhm.
I seen geese, mallards, wood ducks, muskrats, all sorts of stuff in that mow.
Draining their habitat
Used
is
to hunt ducks and.
very harmful, don't you think?
as long as the water flows from the soil and water project, and
I
there's
haven't
not a
seen
problem.
How long's that gonna take to freeze
All
that
these
back
years,
up?
I don't know why it.
I know I have a soil and water project that involves that pond, and as long as the flow comes from my field,
All I know is we didn't do
all the
it
way
right.
across, naturally, that's fine.
Now, they drain that
That'll
across the
guarantee it.
road, so where did it go across the road?
Pat Mosco
Our house.
Jr.
Right down.
Your house?
on
Okay,
town property.
that's nice.
There's a natural stream down through there, and there's a right
It's
of
within
way
the right of way of
for water.
Oh,
It's been in there since the fifties.
property, yeah.
So the water, you can't block the water going down through there. And it is a headwater of the reservoirs, but it hasn't changed anything by lowering the pipe. You just made the ditch work.
Mhm.
You know. And I don't know what happened to the dike on the other side, how that got dug out. That was years ago.
But, yes,
Place for bugs.
yeah.
It's
exactly.
awful
I'd
bug.
love it to be dry. To
Most
get
of
rid
the wildlife has moved down to our pond, the ducks and the other critters.
Mr. Mosco claimed he's putting in a pond in front of his house for wildlife, so.
Oh, I'm
I don't
sure.
know if that makes it better for anybody or not, but that is his plans.
He's got a natural there now. Every time we get a hard rain, there's no water.
That front, the whole property is wet.
Takes all my water.
Yeah.
But that's one thing he did tell me is he plans on putting in a pond, and he's not against, having wildlife there and stuff. He's actually gonna create a place for wildlife.
But there has to be
So,
a ditch from my fields out to the road, to that pipe. So there will be some sort of flow through there. Now, whether he blocks it up or whatever, we can get soil and water in there and have them drain that pond properly.
he claims he's talked to Soil and Water. I don't know, that's just what he's told me.
I just know what's in my abstract and what they have to maintain, so. If it gets blocked up too much, my fields keep getting swamped. We'll have to have them fix it.
Well, it seems like if he talked to him,